Yes, students, today the main question in this video is that how this oxygen and the carbohydrate molecule they reach in the mitochondrion of a cell, right. The last day I had told you that when we take food, from that food after the process of digestion, the complex sugar molecules they are separated from the food, and this complex sugar molecule when reaches to the small intestine is absorbed in the blood, and thereby this blood takes these carbohydrate molecules to the cells and deliver these carbohydrate molecules in the cytoplasm, right. So, cytoplasm is a little viscous liquid substance, physical material that is present inside the cell, and in this cytoplasm all different organelles they remain suspended, and all these organelles they obtain or they meet with their requirements from this cytoplasm, right. Clear? So, let me tell you the way this food, then food turns into two substances. What? One is unwanted part of food, and second, and this happens with the food after the process of digestion. After the process of digestion, this food converts into two different parts, one unwanted part of the food and the second one is nutrients. This unwanted part of the food is known as fecal matter of feces, and this nutrient is termed for the wanted part in that is present in the food. Clear? So, nutrients we have carbohydrate, fat, proteins and so on, right. Out of this we have to know this carbohydrate, nearly all these nutrients they are absorbed in blood. At which place? In the small intestine. Right, in the small intestine, this carbohydrate is absorbed in the blood. Clear? And thereby this is further transported to the cell. So, this is reached to the cell. So, now the carbohydrate comes here in this substance. This is the cytoplasm, and inside this cytoplasm all the organelles they remain suspended, remain in hanging position, right. they do not settle at the bottom or do not hang with the top of the cell or do not simply settle at the bottom, they remain suspended inside this, and all nourishment, all whatever they need, these organelles they obtain from this cytoplasm. So, here in this lesson we have to talk about the double layered organelle, that is the mitochondria, right. This is mitochondrion. This is the organelle in the cell where the process of respiration takes place. What happens in the process of respiration, do you remember? In process of respiration, the carbohydrate, this carbohydrate comes in contact with oxygen and breaks into its constituting substances, that is carbon dioxide and water. This is called respiration, means breaking of carbohydrate to release energy is respiration. And where does it takes place? In the previous video I have told you, if you keep a sugar molecule and say in the atmospheric air or in open where the sugar molecule can come in contact with the atmospheric air that contains oxygen in it, is not going to break into its constituent. Where will it take place? Only in this organelle, right. So, once the carbohydrate is transported to this in the cytoplasm, this mitochondria takes in what? The carbohydrate, this carbohydrate from the cytoplasm of the cell. Is that clear? So, this way you remember C6H12O6 is carbohydrate. This carbohydrate comes in contact with oxygen and then breaks this carbohydrate into CO2, H2O and ATP, that is 674 kcal of energy is produced. This CO2 is carbon dioxide and this one is water, and this is the energy. So, energy is pegged in chemical form as this carbohydrate retained energy, but it was a very complicated molecule, not to be easily decomposed or broken to release the energy. So, this ATP is very simple molecule, and this ATP molecule is the representation of energy, that is how much energy will be there, right. So, this ATP, how many, with break of one carbohydrate molecule you get 38 ATP molecules, right, and these 38 ATP molecules they make 674 kilocalories, this 674 kilocalories, clear. Now, I started with the question how this carbohydrate reaches to the mitochondria where this respiration is to take place, clear. So, I have told you whatever food you take, The process of digestion, in the previous lesson I have told you, separation of nutrients. So, nutrients are separated, unwanted matter is separated. Unwanted matter is pushed out of the body, right, and nutrient is absorbed in the blood in the small intestine. This blood transports this carbohydrate to the cell, releases it in the cytoplasm, and this mitochondria takes the carbohydrate from the side. So, this way carbohydrate reached. What is the second necessary thing that is required for the respiration to take place? Oxygen. Now, this is important aspect. Where will you find the oxygen? Oxygen is available only in the atmosphere, right. This oxygen is carbohydrate you have taken from food. So, where will you get the oxygen from? So, this air, from this air, this goes to our lungs, and as you have seen, the process of digestion is just a separation of nutrients from the food. Similarly, this air is mixture. When I say air, I mean this is sum of oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, all halides means helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon, plus with this I have written all those gases. X meaning the halides we represent, means all halogen, the helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon, right. And along with this water vapor that you read in your geography when you read about the atmosphere is humidity. Humidity is the amount of water vapor present in the atmospheric air, right. So, oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, all halides, water vapor and dust particles. These all together make what? This air. So, air is mixture of nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon, water vapor, dust particles. Some microbes even keep suspended, plus some microbes, right. So, these all materials together make the atmospheric air, right. As the food is made up of the nutrients like carbohydrate, fat, protein, vitamin, mineral, and these nutrients are separated from the food in our digestive system. Similarly, out of all these gases that make air, which gas is required for the process of respiration? Only this oxygen. Out of these many, only this oxygen is required by our body for respiration, right. Only this oxygen is required by our body, clear? It is not a bigger molecule that you simply pick like potatoes. If potatoes and onion are mixed together and your mummy says you bring the potatoes only from that bag that contains onion and potatoes and green chilies, then what will do? Is there bigger molecules, bigger materials? You simply pick them one by one and you can take the potatoes. But here you see these are very small substances, these are very small materials mixed together. So, the method of picking this molecule is not possible. Now we have to separate this oxygen from this nitrogen, from the mixture of all these gases, right. For respiration we need oxygen. As from the food we needed carbohydrate for release of energy, similarly we needed oxygen. How is this done, right. So, for that we have a similar process. I need some place, so I will rub this out. You see, sorry. You see, this is the nostril. We have two nostrils, right. I told after this nostrils you have slight partition and this way the nose goes. Clear? As in the digestive system you had this mouth. This was the opening where you put the food. What is the first step in nutrition? Ingestion. Do you remember ingestion? Putting the food into the mouth, right. Commonly you say I am eating now, right. Eating means you keep the food in your mouth. Similarly, as our nostrils, these two holes, they are in contact with this atmospheric air all around us. So, what happens? This air along with all these gases that enters through these nostrils, right. I have told you after some time, after certain length, this divides into two branches. These two branches together, oh, you need me to name. So, you need to copy this figure in your notebook. This one is nostril. This one is nostril. This one is nose. This one is nose. But what is this one? This hollow place. Do you remember? I told this is nasal. Nasal means of the nose. Nasal, right? Nasal cavity. Cavity is a hollow place, an empty place, a vacant place, right. So, this whole place is nasal cavity, and from this nasal cavity opens into a pipe like structure, and name of this pipe like structure is trachea. Trachea, or the common word used by students is windpipe. So, this is like pipe like structure, and why the name wind? Because this wind or air comes here. This air, it simply does not come walking as we take morning walk, no, it rushes in. It goes with a speed. You know, if in your geography you have read what is wind. So, wind is moving, air is wind. You write moving, air is wind. So, you see this moving, this air, I from this atmosphere enter into this nostrils, right, and this moves inside this trachea with speed. Means it is not that this air goes very slowly, it rushes into, because it is pulled from inside, right. So, that is why this is also known as windpipe. It is not called air pipe. Do you follow? Windpipe. Because here the air molecules they go, they rush in, rush in with a speed, And you know what is wind? Wind is moving air. The air that is moving with a speed is called wind. That's why the name wind pipe. Clear? This wind pipe that divides into two branches, and these two branches of the trachea, they are known as, yes, recall the name I have told you. What is the name? Yes, they are known as bronchi, right? They are known as bronchi. Clear? So these two branches of the trachea, they are known as bronchi. But one is bronchus. One is bronchus. Singular is bronchus, the plural is bronchi. You see this branch, this bronchus, further branches into many pipes like this. These pipes that branch from this bronchus, they are known as bronchioles. These are known as bronchioles. Right? These are known as bronchioles. And these bronchioles, they further branch into pipes thinner than the hair of your body. These are pipes, not solid fibers. These are pipes. So these are known as, this structure is known as alveoli. Right? So you see this thick passage now has turned into very thin passage. Clear? Thin passage. And this appears like cilia, very fine hair-like structures that can simply move or swing with slight movement. So what happens? Naturally, these alveoli are packed into skin-like packing or membrane, and this each of this packing is known as alveolar sac. Sac meaning a big bag, right? So each, and now you see the cross section. Here the cross section, the gap between these two is very this much, right? Means if you take the size, let me measure with this chalk. You see this size chalk can enter through this, right? But when it will go, you see it will be blocked here at this place. As you go further, the pipe is narrowing, you see, narrowing. Here only this size particle can pass. Further in this one, that is in that bronchioles, you see this size particle can pass. And in these pipes, even smaller can pass, right? And come here. Means ultimately at this last, this size, right? So all of this air along with all gases can enter, but at different stages the megamolecules are stopped, and only the oxygen, this oxygen molecules, they can pass, oxygen only. Oxygen molecules only can reach up to this alveolar sac. As this air is pulled with a speed, this oxygen molecule, they go and bounce on this wall of alveolar sac. They bounce there. You know, bounce means if you just come running and you dash and come back, right? You dash and come back, right? Because this is a rubber like structure, membrane. You go and come back. Do you follow? So similarly, suppose I am the oxygen molecule. I have reached up to here. All others, they were blocked at different stages and sent back. You go back, you are not required, right? So suppose I am the oxygen molecule, I have reached up to this alveolar sac after crossing through this alveoli, and I have just on this wall, inner wall, that is like a balloon. This is oxygen molecule, I am the oxygen molecule, and this body is the alveolar wall, this alveolar sac wall, and this oxygen molecule goes fast with speed and bounces here and comes back. In this activity, what happens when this oxygen molecule, any oxygen molecule together, they bounce, this membrane is stretched. The membrane that is having no passage now, but from inside if somebody pushes it, what will happen? A gap is created, and this oxygen molecule cross through this alveolar sac and come here at this place. But this is not an open place. Here at this place, there is a capillary named as the blood capillary. Blood capillary. Right? This blood capillary means now you can see from this atmosphere the oxygen has reached to the blood. Clear? And when it reaches in the blood, there is a protein in the blood named hemoglobin. This hemoglobin is fond of oxygen. Is fond of means once if you give so much of oxygen, then also this hemoglobin is not satisfied and will say, I need more. If you take 20, it will take 20 and will say, I need more oxygen. When will you satisfy with oxygen? Answer is never. Who is never satisfied with oxygen molecule? It is hemoglobin. It's a kind of protein present in the blood. So once this oxygen reaches into the blood, that hemoglobin in the blood traps it, got it, is happy with the oxygen molecule, got this, traps it, and at that time we recognize that hemoglobin as oxyhemoglobin. Oxyhemoglobin, a hemoglobin that is loaded with oxygen molecules is known as oxyhemoglobin, and this oxyhemoglobin takes this oxygen and reaches to the cell and leaves the oxygen into the cytoplasm. This way oxygen reaches to the cytoplasm. And regarding the structure of lungs, I have already told you, and once you have so many alveolar sac, this whole structure is packed in a double layer membrane. Do you remember I told you I am drawing this membrane so apart for you to understand. Actually they are not so apart, they are just touching each other. A very slight gap is there in between, but they are touching. But for you to understand that there are two membranes, double layer membrane, and the name of this membrane is pleural membrane. Pleural membrane. And in between these two membrane there exists a liquid, and the name of that liquid is pleural fluid. Pleural fluid. You know, from the childhood, from the birth onwards, this lung starts working, that is expanding and contracting, expanding and contracting. So it should have durability, it should last up to our death. That's why these lungs, though they expand and contract, they do not break. You see, if you take a metallic wire, contract it, straighten it, bend it, straighten it, bend it, what will happen? After some time this will break into two. Clear? Similarly, though these lungs, this whole structure expands, reduces, expands, reduces, expands. When will it expand? Do you know? When this oxygen molecule come with a force and strike on the walls of alveolar sac, this alveolar sac, they get inflated like balloon and they need more place, so they push the wall of this pleural membrane, and this pleural membrane also expands along with the expansion of this alveolar sac. There is a bunch of packing of this whole is packed. I left some vacant place for you to teach this, otherwise this whole, there is no place. If you observe these lungs, you will see it's like a sponge, only holes you will see, right? No vacant place is there, all this is packed with this alveolar sac. Clear? So what happens when this air rushes in with a speed, it strikes, bounces on the walls of the alveolar sac and